What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Elo Bandit, and today I have for you a wonderful team spotlight showcase on a team that I built called the Crumbler. This team features Avalugg, Conkeldurr, and Aegislash. It is a bulky offensive archetype, and it uses very high base defensive stats in order to tank a lot of hits from a wide range of opposing Pokemon. And before you ask, all of the sets will be in the description, so check there and export them. Without any further ado, let's get into the set specifics. Avalugg acts as a blanket check for a wide range of both physical and special Pokemon, and is an extremely effective user of both Groundium and Rockiem Z. Groundium allows Avalugg to bait Steel and Fire types such as Mega Metagross and Mega Charizard. Its tremendous physical bulk lets it use Curse to set up on Pokemon like Mega Gyarados and Landorus T before nuking them into oblivion with a boosted Z move or a double power Avalanche. In addition, Avalugg acts as a blanket check to special attackers, using its Sturdy plus Mirror Coat combo and its pitiful defense stat made even worse by the Lax Nature. EVs can be moved between attack and defense. This benchmark lets you KO the majority of Tapu Koko after Substitute blocks your Tectonic Rage. Other options include Stone Edge and Lumberry to beat Wisp, Zardwai, and Jumpluff, Recover, Rockiem Z, and Stone Edge, Weakness Policy, Leftovers, or a Pinch Berry. Each of these moves has its uses, and each will help with a different threat in 1v1. While I prefer Groundium Z, you may want a different item for your team, and that's perfectly acceptable. Conkeldurr may look like an odd choice at first, but it can actually hold its own versus several top-ranked Pokemon. It can beat Gyarados with Thunder Punch and Fighting Stab, it can nail both Charizards with Electric and Ground coverage plus high-powered priority, and Assault Vest lets it tank hits from Special Aegislash and Tapu Koko before KOing back with Earthquake. The EVs let you tank special hits from Tapu Koko, Porygon Z, and Timid Zardwai. Defense helps versus some Charizard X, Kyurem Black, and Mega Gyarados spreads. Other options include Flame Orb, Guts, and Protect. You still surprise special Z movers and can win without Assault Vest. Add Ice Punch and you can beat Z-move Landorus and Garchomp, as well as Jumpluff. Other options include Drain Punch for longevity rather than damage, Rock Slide for a better matchup versus Charizard, Sheer Force to boost moves like Rock Slide where Iron Fist doesn't boost them, and Power Up Punch is actually a fun option because you can boost up your Mach Punch and finish off foes with enhanced priority even with Assault Vest. Last but not least, we have Aegislash. Aegislash is an all-purpose wall breaker that can hold its own versus Pokemon like Kyurem Black, Tapu Lele, Mega Mawile, Deoxys Defense, Smeargle, Mega Alakazam, Fear, and overly aggressive physical fire types that hit their faces on your shield. The EVs are set up so that you always tank a Kyurem B Groundium Z Earth Power. You always tank Adamant Mimikyu's +2 Shadow Claw unless it is Life Orb. Rest of the points are dumped into special attack with a little bit of attack investment for Shadow Sneak and a minimum speed so you can always tank a hit in defense form before using an attack. Other options include running Physical Attacker instead of a Special Attacker, with a Brave instead of a Modest Nature. This is run with Shadow Claw and either Swords Dance to beat Deoxys or Iron Head to play better against Kyurem Black. You also have the opportunity to run Sacred Sword, and if you've got Weakness Policy instead of Ghostium, this can help you beat Crunch Gyarados. Also, Occaberry plus Head Smash is a really fun lure set that helps you take out Charizard. Alright, now I want to talk a little bit about the team as a whole. So this team features almost complete meta coverage. There's at least one counter for each meta Pokemon, bar a couple of really niche sets. This team is guaranteed to not suck versus general ladder if you're comfortable with switching sets to not get 3-0'd by something that you could beat by changing an item or a move. Another strength is the team's unpredictability factor. Surprise Ground Z-Quake from Avalugg, Conkeldurr baits a lot of special attackers, and Aegislash can run multiple lure sets, so you actually have a lot of unpredictability there. This team is made up of generally strong Pokemon that just do notably well against a very wide range of both meta and non-meta threats, since not everyone on the ladder spams top-tier Mons. Particularly, this team is good versus bulky specials, which are very popular right now and almost always come back into meta. Stuff like Specs users or Calm Mind boosters, that kind of thing. Even with Z moves, this team can deal with them pretty well. Avalugg beats most of them like Specs Megierna, Choice Porygon Z, that kind of thing, because Trick actually fails against Z crystals. It also beats Meloetta unless it is Psyshock and not choiced. It needs to be able to Psyshock and then use a different special attacking move in order to beat Avalugg. And any Tapu Fini not running Nature's Madness. Pretty much anything else with specs, and Conkeldurr takes out the ones he doesn't, like Fake Out Blastoise, Yon Empoleon, Magnezone, as well as Fake Out Infernape, Salazzle, and some Encore users. Aegislash is also capable of taking out these guys, notably Mega Slowbro, which otherwise walls Conkeldurr. Another strength of this team is it has a lot of common baits. You can bait out a lot of threats that enemies will pick relatively reliably. Tapu Koko, for example, looks like a good matchup against this team because it looks like it deals with this team pretty well. But your Avalugg can beat it almost 100% of the time, and your Conkeldurr can beat it unless it's running like a very particular physical attacking set. People also pick Gyarados a lot, and both Avalugg and Conkeldurr work as counters. Charizard is another common opponent pick. In fact, if several people on the ladder are spamming Charizard, I would recommend switching to Rocky MZ Stone Edge with Avalugg, since it does strengthen that matchup a little bit. Groundsy does do pretty well against both of those since you have Mirror Coat for Zard Y, but if you really want to beat Charizard, Z Stone Edge is the way to go. Or you can switch Conkeldurr to like Rock Slide Sheer Force, and you can pick up some wins that way. You can pretty much learn the matchups just by playing. And then the team does have some weaknesses. A couple of obnoxious matchups. Jumpluff beats this team unless any of the three switch to a Lumberry, or Conkeldurr uses his Flame Orb Ice Punch combo. Breloom is a little bit annoying since it sleeps Avalugg and Focus or Mach Punches him to death. It can go either way with Conk, though Guts Flame Orb wins. And Aegislash generally does win since it has priority Shadow Sneak and only has to worry about grass attacks for the most part. Mega Heracross can be a little bit obnoxious since it close combats Lug and it resists most of Conkeldurr's common move choices. Aegislash can usually Z-move him out of the way, but it's still a limiting matchup. Tapu Lele sometimes carries Psyshock, which can break both Avalugg and Conkeldurr. Again, you have to rely on Aegislash to cover this matchup. And Charizards are sometimes 50-50 matchups for both Lug and Conk. Switching one to a rock move or just using that Heat Okaberry Aegislash lure set fixes this if it becomes a problem you can't play around. Conkeldurr isn't always a safe pick against Kyurem B, since though it does tank standard physical Scarf and any special variants, the relatively common ICMZ Kyurem B is strong enough to OHKO it. Notably, Drain Punch doesn't always net the KO on bulky Kyurem, which is part of why I prefer Hammer Arm and Mach Punch. Deoxys Defense is potentially annoying, though Aegislash can usually come through and take it out. And the last thing that you kind of have to watch out for is Marshadow. Newly released Mon does do pretty well against this team, but you do have some options. You have to watch out because there are Ghostium and Fightium Z sets that work, but Aegislash can beat the Fightium set. Conkeldurr can beat nothing because Conkeldurr doesn't learn a single move to hit it super effectively. But Avalugg can take out the Ghostium variant by simply Avalanching a couple of times. If you really want to strengthen this matchup, you can run Weakness Policy Avalugg instead. As soon as it gets hit by a close combat, a single Avalanche is going to absolutely blow up Marshadow. And you also take out the Band set relatively reliably. Additionally, Aegislash can throw up his King's Shield to lower Marshadow's attack and actually survive a hit and take it out with its Z move. So while Marshadow may be a little bit overpowered / annoying to deal with, this team can still stop it, especially if you're comfortable with changing a couple of things based on what you run into on the ladder.